What's going on, everyone? My name is Blake, representing the Duelist Club, and it's been a while since I've last posted a video, probably about a little bit over a year. Sorry about that. I've been, after, pretty much right after that video, my whole area of, life had changed in a huge portion. In that 2 months that I was going to make videos, I went back to school and I got a job. And a lot of that had put kind of a big strain on me. I'm still in school and I'm still working on a job right now, and I'm also currently working on a little project with some friends of mine. It's been kind of a work in progress ever since I was 13, but hopefully I can work everything into that. I'm still into Yu-Gi-Oh, and I want to continue making videos, and I'm happy that Michael's getting back into Yu-Gi-Oh as well, so we can hopefully start posting a little bit more content for you guys. Not sure about the schedule just yet. Everyone is whoever else is in the whoever else is going to be joining the channel, or whoever wants to join the channel, up until now, we will most likely create a schedule for that of how we want to proceed with videos. But for right now, I'm going to go ahead and show you a deck profile that I've been working on for the last couple of months, and uh, probably going to be my main deck for the next couple of months, or at least until this whole format's over. So let's go ahead and get into that. Alright, welcome back, everyone. So the deck I have been playing for the last few months now is Prank Kids, and probably as you saw in the title, it said Prank Kids on there. The deck has been a very big kind of inspiration to me, especially after the Luna Lights had died out pretty much, and it became kinda. It just didn't fit anything anymore, and I didn't really like playing it too much after that. It wasn't as good as I wanted it to be anymore. Um, and I got a lot of crap for playing Luna Lights back in locals, but this is the deck I've been playing for the last couple of months, and I've been really enjoying it. I've been trying to find a deck that could suit or take the place of what Luna Lights could, and this is a more extensive playable deck that relies on link monsters and fusion monsters. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you the list, go over the cards, and I might make a separate video to this on what the deck can do some random hands. I might do it online, but I will do the deck profile for you for right now. So starting off with the main deck, you're going to run all three of the Prank Kids monsters, including Fansies. Fansies is your card that sends to the graveyard. Once this card is used as a fusion material or link material, you can send a card, Prank Kids card, mind you, to the graveyard, then special summon one Prank Kids card. Pretty good. Run 3 of it, always. You have to run 3 of every Prank Kids monster because you like seeing the material in your hand. 3 copies of Dropsies. Dropsies, once it's used as a link or fusion material, you gain 1,000 life points, and then you can special summon 1 card from your deck. Or hand. I think it's from the hand too. And they all have to be in defense position, but really that doesn't matter because it just keeps cards on the field and stalls your opponent even longer. 3 copies of Lampsies. Lampsies is your burn card. Once this card is used as a fusion or link material, deal 500 damage to your opponent, and then special summon 1 card, 1 Prank Kids card. This also has a lot of backfire too. It's probably one of the best ones. I like Lampsies a lot, just because it deals burn damage and it can go multiple turns, so it's really nice. 3 copies of Roxy's. Roxy's is the technically the newest Prank Kids card, but and I would have done this deck profile whenever Meow Meow Cat came out, but I wanted to just hold off on that because there's some changes I want to do to the deck after Meow Meow does actually come out. So there will be an update to this hopefully sometime when that comes out. So probably expect that sometime during November, maybe. Roxy's, you banish a card from your hand and draw a card. Special summon a Prank Kids monster right after that. Pretty good. If you have like a bad hand or something, you can just cycle. You know, sometimes it works really well. And for the rest of the deck, I play hand traps. Kind of surprising. 3 Ash Blossom. That's the sad thing. I remember whenever I first made my Luna Lights video, the first Luna Light video I made about, I said I hated hand traps, but in this deck, I am using hand traps like crazy, like Effect Veiler too, 2 Effect Veiler in fact, and 1 Primal Being Nibiru. I would kind of want to run this at 2 or just main inside deck, but I'm going to focus on it later on. I don't think it's too bad at 1 in the deck because you never know what your opponent's going to have, and you can always banish it off if you don't need it with Roxy's. Right, and that's basically the whole monsters. I'm going to go ahead and go over the spells. For spells, 3 Prank Kids Place. This is probably the most expensive card right now. I think it's like $5, 3, 4, maybe. This deck is not expensive. Just to let everyone know, this deck's not that expensive. This budget, it's kind of a budget deck, I guess, but not really. It's just depends on what you guys want. But Prank Kids Place searches a Prank Kids monster. That way you don't have to. That way it just gives you material for your fusions and fusions and link monsters. Also, if you summon a link monster to the field, all monsters your opponent controls lose 500 attack. And if you fusion summon a Link Prank Kids monster, all your monsters gain 500 attack. And those buffs, the buffs and debuffs stay on those cards, even if this card leaves the field. It's just really good. And it's really, really easy to get this card out. Normally, you don't even want to see it all that much, but sometimes you don't anyway. And especially once Meow Meow comes out, like this card's not really going to be... This card's going to be like oh, cool, I get a free draw and buffs. You know, that's kind of awesome. That's cool, you know. It works, I guess. 3 copies of Pandemonium. Considering on putting this back to 2, I had this at 2. I was actually playing a different variant of Prank Kids at one point. I was playing a Mist Valley Thunderbird Prank Kids variant. Basically, that was the Prank Kids variant where you got infinite negates with Mist Valley Thunderbird. It was absolutely crazy. I could probably show you that on the not on the band list, on the I could probably show you that on the channel if you guys are interested in seeing that deck profile, because I don't mind showing you guys, even if you're interested in like, oh my gosh, this has an infinite negate loop. Yes, it does. This deck does have a way to get infinite negate loop. Very easy. Pandemonium is your fusion card. It is polymerization, but with a cost. You cannot fusion summon anything for the rest of the... You cannot special summon anything for the rest of the turn except Prank Kids monsters, sadly. Going off of that, 3 copies of polymerization. Everyone knows what polymerization does, but you run 3 copies of it. The expensive card that you don't have to run. Invocation, you don't have to run this, but I run it because it helps with more fusions. I don't really like Invocation too much because you always have to see the Prank Kids monsters in your hand, so it doesn't really help all that much. Yeah, it doesn't really help all that much. Sorry about that. I had some barking dogs I had to deal with there for a sec. Next 2 cards I run is 3 Prank Kids Pranks. I honestly don't mind running this at 3. It probably would be a good idea because all you have to do is discard a card, special summon token. Also, it shuffles three Prank Kids monsters from the graveyard back in the deck, and then you get a plus. Technically, it's a +0, but whatever. Plus, you get to draw a card from that, and it just cycles a little bit better. And what I mean by why it's so good is because even if you don't want to see Meow Meow Cat, or if you have like a place in the hand that you don't really want to see, not place, yeah, if you have like a place in your hand that you don't want to see, or if you have a plan, or if you have multiple of a Prank Kids card, you can just discard that special summon token, normal summon a Prank Kids monster, go for Doodle Doo, effect a Doodle Doo, and effect of the Prank Kids monster in the graveyard, which is basically the normal combo you go with this card anyway. Sometimes you don't use this card at all for that. Sometimes you just set it to the field, wait till the end of the turn, and then go for your shuffle and draw. 2 copies of Desires. Hold off on this card for right now. I would just hold off on this card if you actually want to play this variant. Just to let you know, don't go and play Desires if you don't want to. It's not the best card sometimes, especially whenever you accidentally throw away most of your Prank Kids monsters. Sometimes that can happen, and you are left with no material. And even with Meow Meow coming out, like that's your material, it's gonna be pretty much impossible not to have a setup. All you have to have for Meow Meow is a normal summon Prank Kids, and you have 9 different Prank Kids you can choose from. And it doesn't necessarily matter which one, because you'll always be able to bounce back everything else. So just hold off on this card. It's really good for searching, but I just use it for right now because of the +2, and it's not really. I don't really mind all that banishing stuff, but it's up to you. For right now, I'm definitely running it. And I'm now going off to the one-offs. Of course, you want to run the 1 Insta-Fusion because you want to see Rocket Ride so much. 1 copy of 1 for 1 because you want to see a Prank Kids monster. Imagine yourself drawing into Nibiru and you're actually going up against Monarchs. That would be a fun thing to go through, and then you at least have your 1 for 1 to at least attempt to make a play anyway. You can special summon your fansies and attempt to go through with whatever you can. Then 1 terraforming. You want terraforming to search your your place and get your plus in a Prank Kids monster. A Pot of Avarice. Normally some people play this at 2. I don't know if I care for it at 2. It kind of seems a little bit bricky in the hand when you do that. It's just, I think it's fine. And it only targets monsters. Normally you never want to target any sort of hand trap. I mean, you can, but your Prank Kids monsters are technically more important than anything. 1 copy of Harpy's Feather Duster. I wish I had the secret variant, but I don't. But it's okay. This is actually the star rare, if you can see that. I think it's coming on the camera. Yeah. Wish I had the secret. I don't know if I'd play it or not. I'd be too. Sometimes whenever it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh, and I play certain cards, especially the high variant cards like the ultis and stuff, sometimes I get a little paranoid, especially whenever I'm going up against another player, because I'm like, I hope he doesn't like I hope this person doesn't grab this card and go and just like start ripping it away from me, or like tapping it on the table, like, what does that do? What does that do? Sorry for the little camera lag. It kind of just, it's like, please don't do that. That card was very expensive. I don't want that. This 1 for 1's kind of expensive on its own right now, because I think it's the limited edition. It comes in common, so, but I just play it because I really like the limited edition one. And then for the traps, play 2 copies of Plan. There's a combo I have in this deck that relies Plan in the hand, so that way you can play it for your opponent's turn next. This is a way you can get out your Bow Wow Bark easy. During your opponent's turn, basically you get to shuffle your hand back from the graveyard and get out your Battle Butler. It's also good in the graveyard, so once you send it to the graveyard off of Fansies, then you can normally you just keep it in the graveyard. I don't really I don't know. There has been a time where I wanted it back into the hand so I could set it previously because I knew I was able to send it back anyway next turn. So there has been times when I've wanted this back from the graveyard. But it basically what it does in the graveyard is once your opponent attacks, it doesn't target, but when a monster attacks a Print Kids monster, any Print Kids monster, you shuffle your whole graveyard you shuffle your whole graveyard filled with Print Kids cards back into the deck and extra deck. And however many cards that was, your that monster loses 100 attack for each card, basically. And that is the whole. It's pretty cool. It doesn't. I like it because it just doesn't target. It doesn't target at all. It just says when a monster attacks, so it can do any of that, which is really, really, really nice. So I'm gonna go ahead and go on to the extra deck. All right, now for the extra deck, might be a little bit iffy on a couple things. Just bear in mind that not everything in here is going to stay, especially once. What is it? Phantom Rage? I think it's Phantom Rage when Meow Meow comes out. So just be in mind that not everything in here is going to stay. But I am running 3 copies of Doodle Doo. Doodle Doo is your searcher and your most desirable. It gets out a Print Kid spell card. Also, it shuffles things from your deck, from your graveyard into your hand. Normally, you do this with a special combo. I have decided, I think I am going to make a separate video to this of how combos work in this deck, because I understand that it can be kind of confusing with Print Kids, and I want to show you guys how good it is, why Print Kids is so fun and good to play. It's very annoying to play with other players because they're like, oh, I can't get around it. It's so hard to do anything. Jeez, I can't attack anything. The bad thing about Doodle Doo is it's not on your opponent's turn, so you can't. It's not like Bow Wow Bark where you can just use it on your opponent's turn uh and shuffle those materials back into the hand. Sadly, but it's all right. I mean, you get a free. It's a +1 on your spells, and it continues your plays a little bit better. 2 copies of Bow Wow Bark. I'm kind of considering this down to 1 after the update happens. It's a really good card, and then I kept thinking about it. I kept thinking about like how many times am I actually going to see this card in play? A lot of the time he's going to be going to the graveyard on my opponent's turn, either during main phase once they activate something, or during end phase if they have nothing left, because you can't keep this card during your turn because you can't activate its effect. Its effect reads whenever points to a Print Kids monster, it gains that Print Kids monster gains 1,000 attack. But also, it does the same thing as Doodle Doo, where it can target 2 cards in the graveyard, target 2 Print Kids cards in the graveyard, and add them back to your hand. And then for the rest of the turn, your opponent cannot attack, or your opponent cannot target Print Kids monsters with effects or something like that. I think it's effects. I'm trying to remember all these, but it's just you can't really have this card during your turn. You can do it. You can always make this card during your end phase and then go on with your opponent's turn. But don't ever make it and not use its effect after your opponent's turn has ended, because it's not worth it then. Because then you can't even activate your plus cards, so it's just not as good. And then 1 Roaring Roaster, the one that not many people like. It's a Harpy's Feather Duster that takes 4 monsters, or 2 monsters plus plus a fusion plus another Link 2 monster. So sometimes it's just whether it's worth it or not, I don't know. It works on your opponent's turn. It's definitely going to be worth it when Meow Meow comes out because you don't actually you get 2 free Harpies Feather Dusters. So I guess that's really good and it stays on the field. So it's decent. Uh I play Avermax. Why wouldn't you play Avermax? I play Borreload because I like making my opponent mad and going for an OTK. I also play Borreload Dragon. Uh, again, I like making my opponent mad and going for OTK. Basically, all these are for OTK purposes. Some of these might change. Most likely not this guy. One of these two might be switched out. Maybe a Polius might be put in the deck. I don't know. I might want a 4 negate monster, whatever thing going on here. Going on to the fusions. We got 2 copies of Rocket Ride and 1 copy of Weather Washer. Some people run the Rocket Ride at 3. I don't really need it at 3, and plus again, you have ways to bring it back, plenty of ways, and I don't think I've ever seen anyone run this 3 times over. You know, I don't think I've ever seen anyone attempt to do that. At least I've never I've never had a situation where I've needed 3 in my whole thing. Even if you did, plan is still card and you can shuffle everything back into the deck. Rocket Ride has a good effect and a bad effect. Bad effect is the first effect, which it allows you to attack directly, but its attack is halved, so technically you just deal 1,000 damage to your opponent. Good effect is that it tributes itself, special summoning 2 monsters except fusion monsters, except a fusion prank kid monster. I think Weather Washers. I think Weather Washers. Both effects are actually pretty good. Whenever Weather Washer is out on the field, all prank kids monsters that attack. Whenever a prank kid monster attacks, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in relation to it. Also, it basically does what Rocket Ride does, but on your opponent's turn. It has to go through on your opponent's turn, sadly. But it keeps those 2 monsters alive on the field. They can't be destroyed by battle. So I'd say that's pretty worth it in the long run. 2 copies of Battle Butler. Some people are going to scream at me. Why are you running 2 copies of Battle Butler? How dare? Why would you ever run 2 copies of Battle Butler? To be honest, I have seen so many situations where I needed a second copy of Battle Butler because I have, especially for right now, there is certain points where you cycle your hands so much that you can actually make another copy of Battle Butler in addition to your second copy. And sometimes you never get to see the first one that you made the first time once you activate its Regeki effect. So I think 2 is fine, honestly. And it can be sent back. It's just another material. I don't really see it being too big of a problem. It most likely will change once again Meow Meow hits, but for right now it's going to remain at 2 in my deck anyway, and I don't really see too big of a problem with it. And then finally, 1 copy of Totally Awesome. This card is now at 2, but I don't really see any reason why you'd want to run it at 2 because you don't really see it too much at all, actually, because there's only 1 Aqua monster in your deck, and that's Dropsies, and Dropsies kind of just floats around a little bit, and sometimes you kind of have to work your way around to even get to Totally Awesome. Not saying Totally Awesome isn't a bad card. It's actually a really good card. It's really strong, awesome. It's just that sometimes you have to make a choice whenever you make Totally Awesome. It's either oh, I can make a negate, or I could just end game here. I can make an OTK sometimes. It's like, I could do that, or I could just do this. Kind of situation for me. It's good because it just bounces. You bounce it and send it back to the extra deck if you want to, or you can send back your Lampsies to the deck. I don't know. It's up to you, really, but it negates stuff, and it's really good for it. And that pretty much covers the whole deck, at least for right now anyway. This is going to be a big improvement. Hopefully this will be a big improvement on a lot of the other decks I have made in the past. I've actually gone over some of the past decks I have made on this channel, and to be honest, I feel like I should have went with a lot of your guys' comments, and I'm sorry if that ever struck your if that ever made you guys mad that I posted something on there saying like, yeah, but I mean, I like doing this more than this. But I'll start paying more attention to the things you guys say, and I'll be playtesting more and more. I'm most likely going to be doing a combo or a test hand video with this, probably online. I might make it on Nexus or Yugioh Pro. I'll see about that. But for right now, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.